And welcome back to Music Free Static. I hope you're having a fabulous day. And what is it about sports movies that keeps people coming back, right? Even people who aren't sports fans will get into sports movies, right? Now, one of my favorites is The Cutting Edge. In the end, always gets me, right? When Kate and Doug are taking the ice for their long program after their personal and skating disaster the day before. And, even after seeing the movie so many times, I still get chills as they skate out to center ice. And she looks to, and they're arguing over whether or not to put in this sort of dangerous move that they'd been working on that they was going to take out. But, it's fun discussion. But anyway, they're skating out. She's going to put it back in. And he asks, why? Why? It's not ready. Why are we going to do this? Because she's in the mood to kick a little ass. And it's like, all right, yes, let's do this, right? I get chills. And it's now I like that movie for a lot of reasons, but not the least of which is I am a romantic and it is a love story. So there's that too. And that's sort of important. We'll get to that general topic in a minute. But one of my other favorite sports movies is Miracle, which it's a movie Disney put out that tells the story of, I think it's the 1980 U.S. men's hockey team that, against all odds, defeated the Russian national team, which was the hockey powerhouse of the time. And then U.S. then went on to win the gold medal in hockey that year. But that movie, it's hard to pick out one great moment from Miracle because there's so many that you just like, yes, that was great, and this was awesome, and yes, and yes, and yes. I love some of these movies. Now, I think there's a reason why I think there are lots of reasons why people like sports movies, even if they're not into sports, right? If they're not sports fans. Because the best stories and the best sports movie stories are not about the sport. It's about a team or players who are overcoming their challenges. Like, you look at the Mighty Ducks, right? And here's a team that is financially poor. They're also bad at hockey, but they are financially poor. And how do they compete with everybody else, right? And I think the Bad News Bears has similar themes here, right? Or you get A League of Their Own, which is dealing with the sexism of the 50s, right? Or 40s, excuse me, because it's World War II, right? The men have gone off to fight the war in Germany or in the Pacific. And so they spin up a league for women, to try to keep baseball going and all of that type of thing, right? And yeah, who's gonna come out and see women play baseball? Well, there are a lot of challenges to that, and they overcome them, and it is, but the story isn't about the baseball. It's not even necessarily as much about the sexism of people not liking the women's teams, though I would say there's a little bit. The story is about the players, and especially because it follows the one team, the Peaches, and as it follows them as they bond together, right? Because they don't have they all they have is each other, right? They don't even have fans because nobody's coming to see women's baseball, right? And it's about the two sisters who, Dottie and Kit, who have been sort of rivals. They're friends, they're sisters, but they're also rivals. And how some of those dynamics work when they're on the same team, and eventually when Kit gets traded. The movies are also sometimes about coming together, like I said, in A League of Their Own, or in Miracle, where they're having to literally come together as a new team, right? And that's one of the driving points early in the movie is, he's the coach is asking them, and oh man, Kurt Russell does an amazing job as a coach, but the coach is asking them, who are you? What team do you play for? And it's, I'm so and so, and I play for University of Michigan, or I play for whatever, right? But it's when they start coming in and say, I'm so and so, and I play for Team USA, right? It's that, yes, we can come together and we can overcome these guys, and it takes time, and they get their heads handed to them a few times by, well, the Russians for one thing, in early games and things like that, right? Because they're not that team yet. So, yeah, it's a story that really shows how people can come together in the face of adversity. Other movies, like The Cutting Edge, are about personal growth, right? That one, because it's not necessarily a team story, it's pairs figure skating, right? And it's really focuses on the skaters, right? Kate, who's been an Olympics grade pairs skater for a while and has just not been able to win gold, or any medal for that matter, I think, but she's having issues. Doug, who is a hockey player, who after losing a portion of his peripheral vision in the Olympics due to an injury, he's trying to find something, right? And so you've got Kate, who's overcoming pride. She's finding humility. Doug, who's finding something more than his past glories. And then both of them who are finding each other. Because again, beyond the sport, it's a love story. So, yeah, all of this stuff, right? This is why sports stories, I think, speak to people, at least part of the reason. And then, of course, on top of all of that, then you get the emotional payoffs, right? Because again, it's not about the game. Usually, whatever the sport is the framework for showing the players' growth and their overcoming of obstacles and odds and all of that stuff, right? And you see it in A League of Their Own as you get more, the crowds are growing, right? They show up, I mean, the first game, it's like, yeah, dozens of people are waiting for the pitch to a full stadium. Okay, now the full stadium is not particularly large, but still, it's a full stadium. And they're cheering for the teams, right? It's about being better. It's about overcoming, right? Again, with League of Their Own, as the teams come together, or with the Mighty Ducks as they overcome their finances, right? In a lot of ways, right? You get in Miracles, the team, they're good players, they're great players, but they need to learn a new way of playing. They need to learn to trust each other. They need to learn to be a team, right? Knowing that all of the training and the pain and the heartache was worth it, right? And that payoff at the end when they're playing Russia and they're fighting and they're up a goal, and you see the coach, the U.S. coach, is like, all right, here's the deal. We're coming up as the last minute or so. They're going to pull their goalie. Here's what we need to do. And they're strategizing for it. And Russia never does that. Why? Because Russia they've never dealt with loss, right? The coach has been so dominant for so long, he doesn't know what to do when he's losing. And that layer of um, proof, I guess, that hey, we've been through that adversity, right? We know what we're doing now. All of the training, and in Miracle, it's a lot of endurance training. They worked that team to be faster and have better stamina than anybody else on the ice, and it worked because they were able to then translate that into a style that could stand up against the powerhouses like Russia and others, right? Or you get in the cutting edge as they're overcoming the various issues of Kate's just being a stuck up, bad word there, right? But they're fighting for 2 years to get back to the Olympics and realizing that what's important, yes, the skating's important, winning is good, but what's really important is each other. It doesn't matter, what happens on the ice. What matters is what they found off the ice. Okay? And it's those payoffs are huge. Even for a movie that is as ridiculous as like Necessary Roughness or Dodgeball, right? It's still the players overcoming, right? Necessary Roughness is a fun example because one, it's just a ridiculously stupid movie. But you've got this team. The fictional Texas State University has their whole team was disbanded a couple of years prior for league rules violations. Okay. Now the team is reforming against the will of one of the administrators, and I don't remember why. I think it's just one of those typical academics versus athletics things. Now, I tend to side with academics. I don't actually believe that college athletics should be a thing, at least at the highest levels, right? That's a thing I could talk about later, but we'll not today. That is a topic for future me. But the idea is, here's the team forming, and it's a bunch of scrubs. They don't even have enough players to fully man their team, so they're playing Iron Man football, where they're playing both sides of the field, offense and defense. And and they end up bringing Kathy Ireland in, right, as the kicker, because of course, if you're going to have a team of misfits, you have to have the ultimate misfit on a football team of a hot woman, right? And it's it's fun when they end up in the last game playing the in-state rival. Yeah, right. It's all of the silliness and the fights and all of that stuff comes down to the quarterback throwing to the guy who can't catch for the winning touchdown, right? Yeah, you just get that payoff, right? And in Dodgeball, just seeing the jerk, Ben Stiller plays an amazing jerk. That's about all I've ever seen him play, and so I tend to not like him much, but he plays this horrible jerk. But seeing him get his head handed to him by this team who just wants to keep their gym, right? It's fun, right? It's a fun movie, and you get those payoffs at the end. It's like, yes, okay, we got it. Even though the win is going to happen, like in Dodgeball, from the very moments that the bad guys field their own dodgeball team, what's going to happen. They're going to end up facing each other in the championship, and the good guys are going to win, right? You are a third of the way into the movie. You know exactly how this is going to play out, right? There's no surprises there. But you still get that payoff, right? Heck, Miracle is about a historical game, right? This is it was referred to as the Miracle on Ice because the U.S. men's hockey team was not well regarded in any circles, and the Russian team was so dominant that for them to have won was, as they called it, a miracle, right? So, we know the outcome because history, right? Just like don't go into the movie Titanic expecting the boat to make it, right? So, but you still get that emotional payoff of, yeah, they won. It was worth it, right? And that's why we watch, right? Even I said, even non-sports fans, right? People who are not all about the sports, right? Now, a football fan may be more likely to go watch Remember the Titans or Necessary Roughness or whatever, or your baseball fans are going to be all about Major League and Bull Durham or whatever, right? Okay. But your non-sports fans, right? Like my wife, who does not like sports. I guess she likes figure skating, but yeah, she likes the movie Angels in the Outfield. Why? Because it's not about baseball, right? Yes, it's about the Angels playing baseball, right? The Angels team, but the movie is not about the game. Okay, it's about everything else, right? I mean, and I think it's because it's easier to relate in some ways uh, to a sports team, right? Because everybody faces grief, everybody faces trials, everybody deals with self-doubt, right? And the reality is, we like to see movies or TV shows or read books and see people who go through hell and come out the other side stronger, right? And it gives us hope that we can do it too, right? And it's sometimes hard to relate to Frodo as he walks into Mordor. Okay, it's sometimes hard just to relate to that, but it can be easier to understand a sports team, even if you don't understand the sport necessarily. These are people in a circumstance that most people can understand, right? Most people can understand the competition, the challenges, right? And in the case of something like A League of Their Own, where they're overcoming societal issues, and I said it's not about the baseball, it's about the team, and it's about coming together. And in that case, it's about the sisterhood of the team. And it's about the characters, right? Because no movie succeeds without good characters. It doesn't matter if it's a sports movie or not. If the characters aren't good, the movie is not going to do well. And, I was watching Major League the other day, and I think I'd seen it once, and I decided, you know what? I kind of feel the need to go watch this again. It turns out it's on Pluto, so I went and watched it, commercials and all. But here's another sports movie that's not. I'm not gonna say it's not great. Okay, it's not a fabulous movie, but I love seeing Charlie Sheen's character, Dwight Wild Thing Vaughn, who he they show him at the beginning of the movie as he's trying out for the team, and he is throwing heaters, right? These things are smoking 90+ mile-an-hour pitches. They are rocking. The problem is he can't get it over the plate, right? And turns out he just can't see. They needed to get him some glasses so he could see, but seeing the change for him, right? Because he earned the nickname Wild Thing because he was throwing wild pitches. They were going everywhere. And so for him to come in at the end of the game, as they're playing the song Wild Thing, and the entire crowd is singing Wild Thing as he comes onto the field, it's right. It hits you, right? Because here's a character, he's getting a chance to succeed, and he succeeds by just smoking the guy at the plate. 3 fastballs, 3 strikes, 1 out, right? And he's just a fun character, right? Now the guy they set up to be sort of the lead, okay, right? It's the catcher. This is his last season. His body is given up. He's not. Don't like that character very much. I do like how he's standing up for the rest of the team, and he's doing what a team captain would do, and addressing issues and helping the players get used to things, right? But you see these characters come together, and that's fun too, right? And again, we like seeing these people, these characters overcoming their problems. And it doesn't matter that it's on a football field, because the problems that they face are more often than not actually on the field. So yeah, it's fun. These, and I'm not the type. I don't think I've ever seen. I know I've never seen Remember the Titans, which was high school football, or Friday Night Lights. Okay, I admit, not seen those. But man, I do keep going back to A League of Their Own, and The Cutting Edge, and Miracle, right? And I don't watch baseball. I like hockey, but I just don't have time to watch sports. Heck, I don't even watch football anymore, and I love football. So I played football in high school, badly, but I played it. So yeah, sports movies are one of those things that they give us a lens, I think, into ourselves that it's sometimes easier to see than through something like, a fantasy, right? Something like Lord of the Rings or even Star Wars or something like that, right? It gives us a way of joining in the triumph and success of somebody, right? And, I think it helps us see hope for ourselves. Because, when we see a lot of these movies, most of these sports movies, it is about a team that is trying to beat the odds in some way, okay? And whether it's a team that just has no, there's no reason for them to be together other than the fact they're on this team. And they don't have to like each other, but how do they come together and actually play as a team, right? Or how do they overcome the perceived biases, right? You get that like in the Longest Yard, right? Which is a prison team playing football against, I can't remember who they were playing against. They made that a couple times, and I don't remember who the opposing team was. But again, seeing the prisoners come together, right? And a lot of these, they've got the players on the team who hate each other, but who are teammates and support each other because they're teammates. And that's a huge hope for us individually and as a society, that, hey, maybe we can overcome our differences and be better. So, yeah. So do you have a favorite sports movie? Do you have a favorite movie? But let me know. Drop a comment, or join me in the Music Free Gaming Discord. We'll talk movies. I love talking movies. So as I look back at the episodes, like, yeah, I talk about movies and TVs a lot on this podcast because I love all this stuff. But yeah, like this podcast if you did. If you didn't like it anyway, I don't. And if you want to talk more movies or whatever, subscribe. I'll talk about all sorts of good stuff. And until next time, be excellent to each other. And this is Music Free Static signing off.